You know, I'm not blowing smoke here when I tell you that this is one I didn't think we were gonna get. Somerset, it's been consistently, and depending on the list you look at, you could call it number 2, you could call it number 3 in the state. It's been way up there. And it's super private. And I've said before that all these courses, they have a right to their privacy. No one has to let us in. And we understand that. And this is a course that it's so strict in its cell phone policy, you really can't even have your phone outside of your car here. So us coming in and asking to have our cameras out and our drone flying over the place, we knew it was a big ask.
This is the one, right?
This is the one. This is the day we've been waiting for. Look at this.
First hole at Somerset Hills, I think, is one of those, a great opener. It's challenging, but there's definitely a little bit of room for error. It's a long hole, dogleg right, with the orchard on the inside and a little bit on the outside of number 1. You hit a drive out, the ground kind of takes it down and to the right. I think the play is to kind of leave it short left. Everything will funnel its way over onto the green, but it's a little bit more like a linksy style hole because you're playing down. You want to land the ball short. Our superintendent Ryan does a really good job of keeping the conditions firm, which would allow for you to kind of play and nestle a nice shot on there onto the green.
Been dreaming a long time of hitting this tee shot.
Yeah, you have been.
I don't know if I slept much last night.
My name is James Putman. Our family joined here in 1975. I became a member on my own in 1984. Back in the day, that was kind of when you're 23, you got to get your own number. So we're 48th year. I'm 48th year as a kind of all in, and a little less than that is on my own number. So I'm thrilled to have it. Feel very lucky. Racetrack that the horse ran around kind of goes in this little circle up here, so it basically goes 5 and 6 and 7.
So the mound right there in the middle, kind of where the track.
Yeah, and then kind of where those guys are in that bunker, that's kind of the curve, and then straight through the woods there. You see that kind of. So the golf course was built on kind of 2 pieces of property. The first property was a horse farm with an apple orchard, and in the middle of the farm was a track for these horses that they were raising to run around. I'm not sure if they were thoroughbreds, but it was a place for the horses to run. So when the course was being built, they kind of left the racetrack intact. And what's interesting is it really kind of comes into play on holes 5, 6, and 7. So it plays in the course in that it's an undulation of the course. It doesn't necessarily make the holes harder or easier, but it's very defined. It's very easy to see when you're playing it. And certainly if you have the technology to have views from the air, you can see that track is still completely intact from when it existed, now 100 and 100 plus years ago.
Oh, too low. Good try, good try.
The second hole, Redan, is just a beautiful golf hole. It's hard to believe that that beautiful hole is right in the beginning of your round. You stand there on the tee box from the white tee, I think it's roughly around 160 yards, and you see the giant slopes on the right portion of the green and then down in towards the bunker, and it really kind of catches your eye as to where you have to hit this golf ball to get it close.
So here for me on this tee shot and a lot of the shots, it really was a blind trust, working with what James was pointing us in different directions and our caddy. I just really had to say, just whatever line they gave me and whatever number, just really trust it, because I think that if I'd played this more, I could have a very good chance of overthinking some of these shots with how tricky these greens are and where you need to be. So on this hole, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna trust the line and trust the number and just hit the best shot I can and see what happens. Walking up as we're getting closer and I'm starting to see how close my ball really was. That's one of those ones that I guess it really is not going to matter how I end up playing for the rest of the day. I'll remember that shot, and we're just going to enjoy that one and let that one soak in.
I think the reason we continually rank as high as we do, and I certainly don't have any aspiration we'll ever topple #1 at Pine Valley, but it's because of the consistency. This is a classic golf course from one of the greatest architects of all time. It was relatively early in his tenure in 1917 when he built it, but it has, it's brought in, we've got a Redan, we've got a Biarritz green, we've got some undulations you see and some bunkering you see, and if you understand Tillinghast work, you can travel and see there's certain holes. Many of his layouts, he'll give you straight up the middle to the green, but penalize you on the side. If he gives you a carry to the green, he gives you the freedom to go left or right. And you see that pattern in a lot of his holes. But again, Tillinghast was an architect that kind of took what was brought before him and brought him into his thing. And I think the fact that we haven't changed this golf course, that it's just as its original design, other than again lengthening some tee boxes in the last decade, it's remained the same. And you see so many courses try and change themselves maybe to get a better ranking. And I think if you look at the courses in the top 2 to 3 or 4, with the one exception, Baltusrol, going through a huge renovation, most of those courses haven't changed. Maybe they've added some length, but regularly it's just they built a great golf course from the very beginning, and it stayed that way because they haven't tried to mess around with it.
9 is a great par 5 to kind of close out the front 9. Mike, as you said, hit it in 2 and ended up making a 4. Made a 4. Pretty hard to find around here, which is pretty good. But for most players, they're hitting somewhere between 230 to 250 off of the tee, depending on the line that you're going to take. And then once you go over those bunkers, that kind of goes to a slight uphill and then down towards the green, where you get to see the nice vantage point of the front portion of the clubhouse.
Is that on? Is that on? I don't know. He said I had like 304 or something. Hey, we'll see. It sounded and it looked good.
People talk about their homes or their golf courses as pieces of dirt, because that's really what they are at the end of the day. I think this piece of dirt is one of the greatest in the world. I am lucky and blessed to have grown up on it for the 48 years I've been here. Again, thanking Dad for making that decision, when I had no idea what he was doing. A personal favorite hole in here, I think every member probably has one. Mine are very personal. I'm almost having trouble talking about it. The 12th hole is my favorite hole, and there's 2 reasons for that. When I did finally get to my first club championship in 1993, as I said, the 9s were reversed. That was actually the 3rd hole. We played a 36-hole final. I was 2 down with 2 to go. And going back to that routing and the flipping, I stood on what is now the 8th tee, 2 down. I got a 210-yard par 3, and I got a 3-shot par 5. I've got to win them both, just to keep the match going. And I go par birdie. And then we went extra holes. And on the 3rd hole, our 39th hole, I made 3, my opponent made 4, and I won my first club championship. So that in of itself would make it near and dear to my heart. And then ironically in 2014, I was playing around with some friends, and that evening I was gonna head to a New Jersey seniors golf dinner. I was not a member yet, I was too young, but it was the year my dad passed. And I was kind of taking his place at the dinner, and I had a hole-in-1 on 12. So, it's kind of hard to relive that, but to win my first club championship and then to have a hole-in-1 on that same hole, the year my dad passed was pretty cool. It's kind of hard to beat that. So, favorite holes, it's pretty easy for me to figure out. Hard to talk about, but pretty easy to figure out. So that's why.
This is our 8th stop, Somerset Hills Country Club, and I'm so thrilled and shocked, to be honest with you. I didn't think we were able to get in here to do this today, but here we are. Hats off to everyone here at Somerset Hills Country Club, from everyone on the staff, the team who invited us in, who allowed us to come in, and even James, our host. Thank you so much. I mean, this was just an incredible experience, and I've played here before, and I kind of rubbed it in Frank's face a little bit, and I know that's kind of got him excited about it. So to have him out here and to see his reaction to it was really cool, finally, to get him out here. So overall, I mean, today was a 10 out of 10. The place just looks immaculate, and man, if you ever get the chance, if anyone invites you to come play Somerset Hills Country Club, whatever you're doing, stop what you're doing, go play it. You will not be disappointed. This place is a gem.
Happy Valley is near and dear to my heart, being a Penn Stater, and the name itself kind of loans itself to some really good memories I have from my college career. But it's a beautiful par 4 that's relatively blind off the tee. You're looking like you're just hitting into this open area in between the trees, and you see this bunker, and ideally you want to try and hit a cut off of that bunker somewhere between 230 to 250 yards. We'll leave you a short iron into the green.
This is one, you know, we've been playing a lot of great golf around this here is our home state for our offices right in New Jersey, and this is one that's eluded me. I've never had the opportunity to play it, let alone film it. So this is a special day, a really special day for me, and it's something that I've never in my wildest dreams thought we'd be able to do. This is going to be one of those ones that I think is going to open up a lot of eyes for people who hadn't seen or maybe even hadn't heard of Somerset Hills before. Look out.